in continuation of small and large gut, it is my first topic. Okay. In this fifth topic, I will cover tuberculosis and tumors of small intestine. Okay. And some articles I have already completed, so I am just revising those. Okay. First, definition of tuberculosis of the intestine. Tuberculosis can affect any part of GI tract from the mouth to the anus. Sites affected most often are the ileum, proximal colon and peritoneum. There are two principal presentations. First is the ulcerative type and second is the hyperplastic type. In ulcerative type, it develops secondary to pulmonary tuberculosis and arises as a result of swelling of tubercle bacilli. Multiple ulcers lying transversely develop in the terminal ileum and the overlying serosa is thickened, reddened and covered in tubercles. So the ulcers are transverse in direction, so the chances of stricture are most common in cases of the tuberculosis. Okay. And in hyperplastic type, this complication manifolds increases. Patients typically present with diarrhea and weight loss, although subacute obstruction and even local perforation and fistula formation can occur. Be silent. Be silent. A barium swallow. Any problem? OCT examination fails to show filling of the lower ileum, cecum and ascending colon as a result of narrowing of the ulcerated segment. A course of antitubercular drugs usually leads to cure provided the pulmonary tuberculosis is adequately treated. It means inadequate treatment leads to resistance. So there is a fixed protocol. If there is pulmonary tuberculosis, we have to give a proper regime as prescribed by the WHO and give it for at least 6 months. If there is abdominal tuberculosis, then we have to give for 12 months to 18 months. If it involves the bones, that is port spines or anything else, then the minimum treatment is for 2 years, just to avoid any resistance. देखिए डियर, ऐसा है, आप लास्ट के अंदर बैठते हैं, मैं देख रहा हूं आपको बहुत देर से, लास्ट बट सेकेंड रो, या तो आप चुप हो जाइए या आप क्लास से बाहर जाइए. सबसे पहली रेपुटेशन तो आपकी है कि आप बैक बेंचर हैं और फिर इस तरह की हरकत कर रहे हो. आप इंटरेस्टेड नहीं है, मेरे को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है किसी तरह की, अटेंडेंस आपको इजीली मिल जाएगी, बट एग्जाम के अंदर यू विल सफर. आगे के 2 रो खाली रहते हुए डर लगता है क्या आपको आने के अंदर? स्टडी में बिहाइंड द कर्टन रहने में कोई फायदा नहीं है. अल्टीमेटली लॉस आप ही का होगा. टीचर का काम है पढ़ा देना आपको. आप पढ़ेंगे तो ठीक है, नहीं पढ़ेंगे तो ठीक है. अल्टीमेटली यू हैव टू सफर. Surgery is usually undertaken only in the rare event of a perforation or complete intestinal obstruction. As far as classification is concerned, according to clinical utility, the anti-tubercular drugs can be divided into 2 groups. First line drugs These are highly anti-tubercular efficacy as well as low toxicity. Which routinely we use is the INH. INH is the isoniazid. It is the basic drug of ATT, comes under the ATT. Second is the rifampicin. Third is the pyrazinamide. Fourth is the ethambutol. And fifth drug we use off and on as per the requirement is the streptomycin. Okay. So isoniazid is the basic drug, but in long term course it causes some side effects. Okay, and the usual dose is 300 milligram for the adult one. Rifampicin for 50 to 600 milligram. Pyrazinamide usually we give 1500 milligram, and ethambutol 800 milligrams. Streptomycin 0.75 grams as a IM injection. But these injections are very painful. Once we start, we have to give for at least for 2 to 3 months, not longer than this, because it has some side effects. Second line drugs, which are low anti-tubercular efficacy and high toxicity, and these drugs are second line drugs. We keep these drugs as a conservative measure, or in high risk cases where first line drugs are not effective, and these are para-aminosalicylic acid, cycloserine, kanamycin, amikacin, ciprofloxacin, ofloxacin, clarithromycin and azithromycin. But for ATT level, we require a high blood concentration of these drugs, so we have to give these drugs in high doses, so the toxicity is very much high. Hyperplastic type is caused by the ingestion of Mycobacterium tuberculosis by patients with a high resistance to the organism. Means there is a balance between the body resistance and the tubercular bacilli, that is disease. So the disease will not spread, not show it very much as compared to the totally can control the disease. Remain there is a balance intermediate. So the tuberculosis present itself, patient present with without any symptoms, but in due course of time there is reaction to the cells, and ultimately these cells get fibrosed and causes hyperplasia. The infection usually occur in the ileocecal region, although solitary and multiple lesions in the lower ileum are also sometimes seen. The infection establishes itself in lymphoid follicles, and the resulting chronic inflammation causes thickening of the intestinal wall and narrowing of the lumen, and ultimately obstruction. There is early involvement of the regional lymph nodes which may caseate. It means the lymphoid follicles, the lymph glands which are involved, ultimately there is a caseating type of necrosis. So if it is superficial one in the neck or axilla, then first we confirm whether it is a tubercular lymph node or not. If by mistake we incise that lymph node, it will cause a continuous weeping type of the sinus formation. Okay, so first we confirm and then we excise that lymph node in toto, not in size. Patients usually present with attacks of abdominal pain and intermittent diarrhea in the initial stages. There is incomplete ileal obstruction leading to stasis and bacterial overgrowth. This in turn causes steatorrhea, anemia and weight loss. Patients may present with a mass in the right leg fossa and vague ill health. Okay. So in tuberculosis, when patient affected from tuberculosis, the cardinal signs are: first, there is weight loss. Patient will complain of weight loss. Second, fever with chills and rigor. Third, easy fatigability. Fourth, chronic cough. Fifth, hemoptysis. If there is involvement of other organs or abdominal part, then patient will complain of vague abdominal pain, diarrhea, steatorrhea. Okay? At that time, if patient don't took any treatment, then the complications arise. Okay? And the first tubercular bacterial invasion is in the right apical lobe of the right lung. Okay? That is called as Gone lesion. Okay? The differential diagnosis is that of an appendix mass, lymphoma, carcinoma of the cecum, Crohn's disease, tuberculosis or actinomycosis. A barium follow-through or small bowel enema will show a long narrow filling defect in the terminal part of the ileum. CT will also demonstrate the narrowed segment with proximal distension and the associated lymphadenopathy. When the diagnosis is clear and the patient has not yet developed obstructive symptoms, treatment with chemotherapy is advised and may be curative. देखो फ्यूचर में आप एक चीज क्लियर कर लें, आपकी क्लास 12:30 शुरू होती है. आई विल वेट फॉर 35 ओनली. आई विल गिव यू a privilege of 5 minutes. After that, anyone will come, will mark absent. It's your responsibility you come in time or not. Where obstruction is present or the possibility of the Crohn's disease or lymphoma require clarification, ileocecal resection if required. Then tumors of the small intestine. Tumors may be benign or the malignant. And benign tumors, majority of small bowel neoplasm are benign, comprising adenoma, lipoma, hemangiomas and neurogenic tumors. They are frequently asymptomatic and identified incidentally, but can present with intussusception, small bowel obstruction and bleeding that may cause anemia or may even to the overt complications. Where these lesions do cause anemia, the cause can be difficult to diagnose. We can't find from where the bleeding is arising because of the huge length of the cut. CT or small bowel contrast studies do not show them easily. I have already told you, to delineate the esophagus, we have upper GI endoscopy. To final the diagnosis, take the biopsy. Even with upper GI endoscopy, we can also visualize the stomach and the first and second part of the duodenum. Okay, after that we have limitations. Okay, and we can also do barium meal examination for the upper GI identification. If there is problem with the large gut, then we have option of lower GI endoscopy or colonoscopy or sigmoidoscopy, and also in this we can take biopsy also. Barium enema we have, but for the small gut, remaining part of small gut, we have limitations. So barium follow through First we go for the barium follow through. If barium follow through is not serving our purpose, we can go for the CT scan or MRI. If not there, then we can go for the capsule endoscopy. But capsule endoscopy again have some limitations. Capsule endoscopy or small bowel endoscopy has been used successfully where the facilities are available. Symptomatic lesions can be treated by small bowel resection and anastomosis. Now the Peutz-Jeghers syndrome. This is an autosomal dominant disease characterized by melanosis of the mouth and lips with multiple hematomatous polyps in the small bowel and colon. Melanin spots can also occur on the digits and the perianal skin. The gene STK11 on the chromosome 19 has been found in a proportion of the patients with this disease. Long-term follow-up of the original family described by Peutz, that's why it is called as Peutz-Jeghers syndrome. Shown reduced survival as a consequence of complications of the bowel obstruction and the development of a range of cancers. It is logical to perform regular colonic surveillance and encourage female patients to attend breast and cervical screening. It means Peutz-Jeghers syndrome can also cause carcinoma of other parts of the body. Despite the increased risk of malignancy in general, malignant changes in the polyps themselves rarely occur and polyps can be left alone unless they causes the complications. Resection may be indicated, however, for heavy and persistent or recurrent bleeding or intussusception. Polyps may remove the enterotomy or at laparotomy. Smears via a colonoscope introduced via an enterotomy can also be possible. Heavily involved segments of small intestine may occasionally be resected. Here in this picture you can see there are melanin spots in the mouth. Malignant changes. Small bowel malignancy is rare and classically presents late. Most often diagnosed after surgery for small bowel obstruction. There are 4 types considered which account for 99% of the small bowel malignancies, and these are adenocarcinomas, carcinoid tumors, lymphomas and mesenchymal tumors, that is GIST. Small bowel adenocarcinoma is more often found in the jejunum than in the ileum, although etiology is unknown. More common in patients with CD, celiac disease, familial adenomatous polyposis, hereditary non-polyposis of the colonic ulcer and Peutz-Jeghers syndrome. The tumors present with anemia, overt gastrointestinal bleeding, intussusception or obstruction. Prognosis is poor, particularly in patients with Crohn's disease, in whom these tumors often present late, because patient is already facing the problems or complications of the Crohn's disease. So when it is converted into the malignancy, patient will be remain unaware of this problem, and when it is detected, the time has gone. Because of the symptoms are commonly mistaken for those of CD and treated conservatively. When suspected, advised surgical treatment in a resection of 5 cm of non-involved bowel, either side of the lesion and the affected mesentery. Okay. कोई भी पार्ट जैसे इन्वॉल्व हुआ सर्जरी के अंदर, बेसिक रूल है while doing the surgery over the small gut or the large gut, we have to remove, at least we keep spare 5 centimeter all around. A right hemicolectomy is likely to be required for tumors of the distal ileum. Here you can see the picture. Here this is the main ulcerated part. Okay, this is the tubercular carcinomatous lesion. So this is the spare part of the gut on either side. Okay, and this is the stricture formation here. Now carcinoid tumor, I have already taught this article. These neuroendocrine tumors occur throughout the GI tract, most commonly in the appendix, ileum, rectum, in decreasing order. Appendicular carcinoid tumors are commonly noted as an incidental finding at appendicectomy. Appendicular carcinoid tumors are commonly noted as an incidental finding in appendicectomy. आज क्या झमेला क्या है आप लोगों का? क्या हो रहा है? वार्ड लिविंग चल रहा है. It occurs in 2% approximately of the appendices removed surgically. The tumors arise from Kulczynski cells at the base of the crypts of liver cone. The primary is usually small, although significant lymph node metastasis can occur. In up to 1/3 of the cases, small bowel carcinoids, the tumors are multiple, may produce dense fibrosis in the surrounding tissue, resulting in distortion and scarring of the bowel and associated mesentery, giving them a characteristic radiological appearance. Carcinoid tumors can produce a number of vasoactive peptides, and the most common are the serotonin, but histamine, prostaglandin, kallikrein, all these products are also liberated, so the patient will complain of shock-like symptoms in episodic form. When metastasized to the liver, the carcinoid syndrome can become evident because of the vasoactive substances escape the filtering action of the liver. Clinical syndrome itself consists of reddish blue cyanosis, flushing attacks, diarrhea, borborygmy, asthmatic attacks, and eventually pulmonary and tricuspid stenosis. Classically, the flushing attacks are induced by alcohol. Surgical resection is usually sufficient for the patients with primary disease, but the incidence of recurrence is significant, means very high. Patient will cardinally complain of diarrhea, bronchospasm, facial or upper chest flushing, palpitations, and tricuspid regurgitation. The extent of disease can be assessed preoperatively using octreoid scanning, which may detect otherwise clinically unapparent primary and secondary tumors, plasma markers of the tumor bulk such as chromogranin. A concentrations may be useful marker of the disease recurrence as well as prognostic value. Hepatic resection can also be carried out in patients with metastatic disease. But if liver involvement is multicentric, then it is not possible. Treatment has been transformed by the use of octreotide, which reduces both flushing and diarrhea, and octreotide cover is usually used in patients with carcinoid syndrome who have surgery to prevent a carcinoid crisis resulting from liberation of vasoactive substances while handling the tumor. Carcinoid tumors generally grow more slowly than most metastatic malignancies, and patients may live with the syndrome of metastatic disease for many years. They are not usually sensitive to chemo or radiotherapy. Now the lymphomas. लिम्फोमा का आपका क्लास हो गई क्या? किसने ली है क्या पहले क्लास लिम्फोमा पे? यस और नो यार. मेडिसिन में और में किसी में भी नहीं हुई आपकी लिम्फोमा पे क्लास? शॉर्ट नोट आएगा आपके, मान के चलना. फुल क्वेश्चन भी आ सकता है लिम्फोमा पे. हेलो, हाँ बोलिए. मैंने बताया हुआ एड्रेस, आप एड्रेस देख लो. आप भैया मैं क्लास ले रहा हूँ, आप है ना वहाँ किसी से पूछ लो, एड्रेस को दिखा करके वो बता देगा. कोई बच्चे चलता हुआ बता देगा. ठीक है. I am giving a brief of lymphomas. Okay. It is small bowel lymphoma may be primary or more commonly secondary to a systemic lymphomas. The incidence of small bowel lymphoma is increased in patients with CD and immunodeficiency syndromes. It is rare to affect the small bowel, and most Western type of lymphomas are non-Hodgkin B-cell type lymphomas. They usually present with anemia, bleeding, perforation, anorexia and weight loss. T-cell lymphoma develops in the patients with celiac disease. It usually presents with worsening of the patient diarrhea, pyrexia of unknown origin and local obstructive symptoms. Mediterranean lymphoma is found mostly in the North Africa and Middle East and often widespread at diagnosis. Burkitt lymphoma can aggressively affect the ileocecal region, particularly in the children. The mainstay of treatment for these conditions is chemotherapy. However, surgery may be required for obstruction, perforation or bleeding. Now the definition of lymphoma. Lymphoma are malignant neoplasm organizing in the bone marrow and lymphatic structure resulting in the proliferation of lymphomas. देखिए आप बहुत बोल रहे हैं आप क्लास के अंदर आज. I don't know what problem you have. लास्ट के अंदर, नेक्स्ट क्लास के अंदर, लास्ट की 2 रोज के अंदर मेरी क्लास में एटलीस्ट कोई नहीं बैठेगा. मेक इट क्लियर, लास्ट 2 रो में कोई भी नहीं बैठेगा. Now the classification: Hodgkin lymphoma and non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma are again classified into B cell type and T cell type. Now the Hodgkin lymphoma. Definition: a neoplastic transformation of the lymphocyte, particularly in lymph nodes. It is characterized by presence of Reed-Sternberg cells on histology. मेरे को यहाँ तक जो आवाज आ रही है ना, जैसे पिजन होते हैं ना कबूतर, वो कैसे करते हैं, मेरे को वो आवाज आ रही है आपको. इट्स अ वेरी शेमफुल फॉर यू. इट्स नॉट द मैटर ऑफ लाफिंग. आप 8th सेमेस्टर में अभी आउटगोइंग हो जाएंगे थोड़े दिनों में, एंड यू विल बी मोस्ट रेस्पॉन्सिबल पर्सन ऑफ द सोसाइटी. तब भी आप ऐसी करेंगे हरकतें तो आप लोगों में सारों में ऐसे नहीं है, 2-5 ही होते हैं जो शरारती होते हैं. उनका इलाज कुछ और होता है। It is characterized by presence of Reed-Sternberg cells on histology spreading in an orderly fashion to contagious lymph node. For example, HL that starts in the cervical lymph node may spread first to the supraclavicular lymph node, then to the axillary group of the lymph nodes. Here you see, this is the Reed-Sternberg type of this cell. These are the mirror image type of the nuclei, characterized by the mirror image type of the nuclei. Okay. Hodgkin lymphoma types. These are nodular lymphocytic predominant type. Classically, Hodgkin lymphoma can be of 4 types. First, nodular sclerosis type. Second, lymphocytic rich classical type. Third, mixed cellularity type. And fourth, lymphocytic depletion type. Lymphocytic predominant has the best prognosis, whereas lymphocytic depletion has the worst prognosis. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma, its definition, neoplastic transformation of either T or B cells, lineages of the lymphocyte cells. NHL causes accumulation of the neoplastic cells in both the lymph node as well as more often diffusely in extralymphatic organs and the blood stream. It has no Reed-Sternberg type of the cells. Non-Hodgkin type, 2 types as per the symptomatology, high grade and low grade. High grade has cells which look quite different from the normal cells. They tend to grow fast, look like follicular, incurable, wider dissemination at presentation. Low grade has cells which look much like normal cells and multiply slowly, usually look diffuse. Long-term treatment may be achievable. When we compare as far as cellular origin, HL arise from B lymphocytes, NHL arise from B and T lymphocytes, where B lymphocyte has 90% cases. Extent of the disease, it is localized to the regional but may be widespread, and usually NHL is disseminated type. B symptoms are common in HL and these are very less common in the NHL. Extranodal involvement is rare in HL and is common in NHL. Stages of HL and non-HL. Stage 1, there is involvement of single lymph node. Stage 2, involvement of 2 or more lymph nodes on one side of the diaphragm. Stage 3, lymph node involvement above and below the diaphragm. And stage 4, involvement outside the diaphragm. Here you can see in this picture, this is stage 1, this is stage 2, both the lymph nodes are above the diaphragm. In third, lymph nodes are above and below the diaphragm. This is the imaginary line showing the diaphragm. Okay, and here this is the disseminated type. Etiology: infection with Epstein-Barr virus, human T lymphocyte virus, human herpes virus, hepatitis C virus, H. pylori and chlamydia are also responsible for this disease. Genetic predisposition: family members, especially brothers and sisters of a person, may have an increased chance of developing this disease. Occupational toxins such as pesticides or benzene is the most common. It means we are all vulnerable to this disease because we use incidentally or by unknowingly the pesticides. Because most of the food articles are prepared with pesticides, can be protected with pesticides. Abnormal B or cells develop large abnormal cells. These abnormal cancerous cells are called as Reed-Sternberg cells. I have told you. Okay. Previous cancer treatment, chemotherapy and radiotherapy treatment give for a previous cancer can increase the risk of someone developing lymphomas. It means the patient who has taken chemotherapy or radiotherapy for any other disease can develop immune deficiency, and these patients are vulnerable to develop HL or NHL. Certain drugs used after an organ transplantation, because the drugs we use after organ transplantation, these drugs will continue for 5 years or 10 years just to avoid rejection of that transplant. These are the immunosuppressant drugs. These can cause also this problem. Older age, many lymphomas are, like other cancers, are more common in older people. This is because as the time goes on, more changes happens in the genes and the body is less able to repair these. HL is most common among teens, aged between 15 to 35 years, and adults aged 55 years and older. Lifestyle, many cancers are caused by smoking, but there is much less evidence that it leads to lymphoma. Smokers may have a slightly high risk of follicular type of the lymphomas. Clinical manifestations, enlarged, painless, rubbery. This is the characteristic finding, rubbery inconsistency. Lymph nodes are rubbery inconsistency in lymphomas. Okay, non-edematous, non-tender lymph nodes are the hallmark of the disease. Cervical, axillary, inguinal lymph nodes enlargement are most common initial signs of the disease. Patients may develop these symptoms, and these symptoms are drenching night sweats, 10% weight loss, or fever. Clinical manifestations include fatigue, pruritus, weakness, chills, tachycardia, alcohol-induced pain, anemia, bone or flank pain, coughing, shortness of breath, red patches over the skin, and suffocation. The extra lymphatic involvement, the organs involved are spleen, liver, bone marrow, lungs, CNS, and extra lymphatic involvement is much more common in NHL. Emergency presentation, patient may come with infection or facial edema, increased JVP, and dyspnea. These are the signs of SVP obstruction, superior vena cava obstruction. Okay. HL is localized to cervical and supraclavicular group of the lymph nodes. Diagnostic tool, biopsy. X-ray chest, MRI, PET scan, lumbar puncture for CSF. Other investigations are the laparotomy to diagnose for the staging of the disease. टाइम हो गया आपका, एक्चुअली में बहुत लंबा चौड़ा है, ये पढ़ा सकता था मैं. GIST, लास्ट पढ़ा रहा हूँ मैं आपको. GIST is a mesenchymal tumor and the distinction between benign or malignant type is difficult even on histological examination. Increased size and high level of CD117 117 staining are associated with malignant potential. GIST are found most commonly in the stomach, but can be found in other parts of the gut. They occur most commonly in the 50 to 70 years of the age group. Cause is unknown. Patients with neurofibromatosis have an increased risk of developing these type of tumors. Patient may be asymptomatic and the tumors may present as an incidental mass on CT scan. Symptoms include lethargy, pain, nausea, hematemesis, melena. Surgery is the most effective way of treating GIST as the tumor is radio-resistant and is not sensitive to even conventional chemotherapy. So, the treatment is only surgery. It has also a role in adjuvant therapy. Thank you.